In today's video, we're going to address the overall markets once again. Today, we had a massive sell-off, and I'm sure y'all have a lot of questions about what to expect tomorrow and how to prepare. Where is the bottom? We're going to address these issues very shortly. I'm also going to be sharing with y'all one stock, maybe one sector that y'all should be keeping in your watch list. Y'all, let's dive right into it. Right off the bat, we got the Nasdaq futures. And if you remember in the last video, I gave you guys a warning about swinging calls between Tuesday and today. All right, especially if the VIX was at this red band. I'm going to pin the video at the top right, that way you can see what I mean. All right, so this was what I was I was suspicious of, a potential sell-off like we've seen today. That's what I was trying to warn you guys about, and so far it looks like the VIX is kind of on course. It's almost halfway to 21. Today it went from 15 to 18, and tomorrow might be the day where we see it go to 21. All right, now potential signs for like a reversal in like the SPY and more like a bullish momentum. What we want to see is a candle similar to this one, more like a bearish hammer, where the wick is like all the way to the top. I'm going to erase this. All right, we want to see first, we want to see the VIX get up there, and then we want to see like a bar, a candle that looks like this with some short sellers, some VIX short sellers, or I would say some market dip buyers. All right, that's what we want to see before a potential reversal on that one. But right now it's too soon to assume that we're going to be bullish. It's on its trajectory to 21, and I'm not changing my mind. I'm just not. Now, addressing the overall market once again, we gotta look at some things. First and foremost, QQQ. All right, it took me until like earlier this morning to realize what was really going on here. The floor on QQQ has been broken. It's kind of irritating when a big portion of the move happened during night. All right, but again, this is the market. It happens. If you look on a 4-hour chart, this is what we had to deal with. This is a descending triangle followed by the breakdown right out the gates, and then a all-day fader. And typically what happens with this thing, we should see a drop all the way down to at least 450. I'm thinking 450. I could be a bit more aggressive. It could actually stop a little sooner, more like 456, before it starts to go sideways and potentially bounce. All right, but my initial thoughts when I look at this is 450. All right, looking at the daily also, I like the way the volume is increasing. All right, lots of bears are officially taking control of the market. They've been in control of the market, even though we had these tiny little candles up here, which I warned you guys about in the last video. All right, now let's discuss the stock slash sector for tomorrow. The stock slash sector for tomorrow is NVDA. All right, now I want to share NVDA with y'all for one reason and one reason alone. If you look at the 4-hour chart and we zoom in right here, it looks quite similar to what's happening with the Nasdaq, but the Nasdaq is ahead. And in my experience with the markets, usually when one stock that is a big portion of QQQ is dragging its feet, it tends to catch up at some point. All right, and here's what I mean by catching up. So first and foremost, we have the structure right there. We have a descending triangle similar to what I just showed you guys with QQQ. Watch what I'm doing here. Y'all see these two, right? Y'all see these at these points, and then these points, and here's the breakdown. But with NVIDIA, it's a little bit more higher up. It's not like down here at 110 already. So NVIDIA has some catching up to do, and I think that could happen tomorrow. Watch this one for a drop tomorrow down to 108. All right. To start off, could it go lower? Possibly. I've been bearish on this one for quite some time. I did share, I think it was Sunday's video, where I shared you guys the trade that I took from, I'm gonna erase all of this. The trade that I took at first because of the bear flag, right, from here to here. That trade, I shared with you that. But now there's a new structure, and on the daily chart, it kind of looks, again, the floor has been taken out. The volume is increasing on the right. There's some gaps to be filled on the left. That one got filled by this candle, but the one that I'm sure a lot of investors, especially anybody who chased up here, they're worried about this gap down here, all the way down to 95. I don't know when we're going to get down there. All right, I don't know how fast it's going to drop down there. So just keep that in mind. All right, keep that in mind. But as for today, I hope a lot of y'all were able to catch some of the opportunities. I'm going to share with y'all the sequence that happened with us, with my trades. All right, first and foremost, IWM. Despite the fact that I warned you guys about swinging calls between Thursday and Wednesday, I saw this thing on IWM yesterday, and it broke out at like 1 p.m. And I bought calls on here, hoping for a move up to 225. The stock was behaving, well, this ETF, the Russell, was behaving quite terribly. Let's go back to here. So let's look at IWM. Again, this is for those of y'all who are new and are looking to learn. All right, so let me show y'all what was going on. So I get in right here with calls, and with this trade, I ended up breaking even with it. So I buy calls right here, and then I hold and I wait, and I don't sell it because it doesn't really get underneath this white line, and I ignore the advice that I gave you guys about swinging long. All right, and I just hold. Luckily for me, IWM was very, very, very generous, and I took advantage of this spike to break even at the very, very top. So this is, let me go on a 1 minute, and here's what I mean. So at first it pumps all the way up here at like 841, and then like right at 841, that's when I immediately exit all of the IWM to focus on what I really, really wanted, which is to short these semiconductor stocks. And I decided to buy puts on SMH, this descending triangle, pretty much the same thing that I showed y'all with NVIDIA, but on a much smaller scale. It was a simple trade, honestly, and this was popping up all over the chart. First right here at like what is this, 945, I get in with puts with a price target of 245. It drops and drops and drops and just keeps fading, and this was a solid trade for us. All right, I ended up getting rid of my puts when it got to 245.8. It went down even lower to like 243. But if you look on here, here's another same thing again happening with IWM. A bearish opportunity which you could have taken advantage of from here all the way down to either here, or if you want to be really, really greedy and hold until the very end, or you can get out right here. All right, like this structure was popping up over and over and over again. To give y'all another example, we can simply look at Apple. All right, because Apple had the same thing. There was a lot of things to pick from for today to make money on puts. Number one, QQQ. Number two, the semiconductors, and number three, the same thing again on Apple, with the breakdown happening right in the morning at like 8:35. All right, so this was pretty much, again, I'm just teaching y'all, for those of y'all who are brand new to the markets, we trade patterns and patterns only here. This is what I look for nonstop everywhere. All right, I look for this is the bearish structure. I also look for the bullish structure all the time. The ascending and the descending triangles are my absolute favorite because they behave the best. All right, and even when they don't behave the best, like IWM for example, right here, they can be pretty generous and allow you to break even. This is why it's my absolute favorite. All right, now let's look at Tesla. It's already been 10 minutes. Okay, quickly on Tesla, I share with y'all my thoughts on Tesla and why I shorted it at first on Friday, between Thursday and Friday. The structure on here was this little one. It was small at first. So I get in with puts right here at the close, and I sell my puts at 240. All right, and leave this thing alone. Later on, as it was approaching earnings, it formed a bigger structure, which again, holding anything through earnings is gambling, right? The structure is there in hindsight. Yeah, if you gamble puts on here, congratulations, you made some money. All right, hindsight is very easy to look at it because when the market is closed, you cannot buy put options on here. All right, you can't. It doesn't allow you to do so. All right, but ultimately it went down to 215 like I initially thought way back here. Could it go lower? I'm thinking it definitely can, especially since the VIX isn't at 21 yet. There's also a gap to fill on the left hand side at 209. All right, and the same thing also applies for Google, which didn't do so hot with earnings as well. All right, and Google and Tesla were, I guess, the main catalyst for the QQQ sell-off. At least that's what I put out in the news section. So with this one also, there's the gap to fill on the left at 156. Like I said before, I don't know when these gaps are gonna get filled, but as you can see in the front of you, where's my alert? I suggest that you also put your alert there. That way when it rings, you will be notified when it's time to short this thing down. All right, this is not a good look. Usually after earnings like this, there tend to be a little bit of like a slow fall. It could be rapid too. We could see something like that happening tomorrow. Either way, my alert is there, and pretty much patiently waiting, as all of you should do as well. That's my honest thoughts on all of these stocks, and that is the end of the video. Do not forget to annihilate the like button as always. I make these videos from Sunday to Thursday at exactly 10 p.m. Eastern time, so definitely click on that subscribe button and click on that notification bell. That way you don't miss out on future uploads. If you'd like to be part of a private Discord community where you can get all of this information in real time as I see them, along with the contracts that I buy, the details of these contracts, and why I take the trades that I take to begin with. That way you get to learn along the way. You can find that as the first link in the description of the video below. Don't forget to follow me on social media at Paul and Guma, and at Patternology Lab on Instagram and on X. And lastly, to get some free stocks with Webull, you can use the third link in the description of the video below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Patternology Lab, where we trade patterns and patterns only. And I will see all of you in tomorrow night's video.